Let's exterminate the lot of them.
Today's film is a tale of Hollywood hubris filled to the brim with breathtakingly stupid decision-making and misled fortitude. You know, the kind of story that the screenwriters for Entourage may have rejected for being too unbelievable.
I'll eat you alive! I'll eat you alive! Trap you out of my tuchus!
Yet, unfortunately for John Travolta, the Church of Scientology, and a now bankrupt film company, it's all too true.
It's a joke.
After Scientology, creator and science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard wrote Battlefield Earth, a saga of the year 3000, originally titled Man, the Endangered Species, he was confident it would become a film.
Damn right, rat brain. That's the first intelligent thing you've said yet.
No, 2 films. His work of over 420,000 words and 820 pages would need as much. In those pages, claimed that it held a treasure trove of every genre you could imagine. From science fiction to mystery to romance. Everything except for the genre fantasy, according to Hubbard.
So it is my duty to report you even though you will be vaporized and I will have to train a new assistant.
While that would fall through and Hubbard would pass away in 1986, one of his followers, John Travolta, would carry its torch, right into the annals of bad movie history, quite possibly to the very tippy top of the list.
Put it on my tab.
But you don't have a tab.
I do now.
Grab a Kerbango and settle in. This is What the Happened to Battlefield Earth.
Crap, lousy ceiling! I thought I told you to get some man animals in here and fix it!
Though Hubbard's sweeping science fiction epic about humans becoming an endangered species because of 9-foot-tall aliens had become a bestseller, many thought it was a work.
Man animals.
Critics accused Hubbard's Scientology foundations of pulling a publishing industry scheme in which they would buy up a substantial amount of books themselves, thus ensuring it became a bestseller before allegedly returning the books or selling them elsewhere secondhand. But this was just a rumor. And spoilers, it's what a lot of people do to get on the New York Times bestsellers list. The story was at least popular enough for the Church of Scientology's literary agency to sell its rights to a company called Salem Productions. They enlisted the help of screenwriter Abraham Polanski and The Longest Day director Ken Anakin to head the project creatively. These wild and crazy guys even constructed a 30-foot-tall inflatable of Turtle smack dab in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard to promote it. But it was all for naught. The project slipped into oblivion, and Hubbard passed away in 1986. Picture a gigantic deflated alien being peed on by a stray dog as the sun goes down. But a message in a bottle had already been sent into the universe in the form of a signed book to devoted Scientologist John Travolta.
This is not weird!
Hubbard sent the book to Travolta when it released in hopes that he would use his Hollywood powers to turn it loose. Travolta, unsurprisingly, loved it and called it a fine wine of the genre, different than anything that he had ever read. But after a string of box office duds, his star at the time was very much like the deflated alien over on Hollywood Boulevard. Until 1994 and Pulp Fiction. Travolta's stock then skyrocketed after his excellent performance as Hitman Vincent Vega. He turned it into a string of hits, including Broken Arrow, Get Shorty, and Face Off.
Looks like you're gonna be in here for the next 100 years.
Travolta was back and bigger than ever. There was never a better time to push an extremely high-budget Scientology-backed epic onto the world. Or maybe there is no good time to push an extremely high-budget Scientology-backed science fiction epic onto the world. Either way, he did it. Hard.
Oh, I'm gonna walk. Hard.
In what you could argue is one of the dumbest sentences ever uttered by a human ever, he referred to Battlefield Earth as Pulp Fiction in the year 3000.
I'm a little pressed for time. Why don't you save the going away jokes for later?
No jokes, sir, I swear.
If that's not cuckoo enough, studio heads like Bill Mechanic at 20th Century Fox were beginning to make comments about Scientology enthusiasts becoming pushy on the subject at the studio. He lamented Scientologists were coming up to him and telling him how excited they were for the film before he was even producing it, totally creeping him out in the process. Their deal with Fox fell through, as did the one with MGM. In the meantime, Robin Hood Men in Tights screenwriter J.D. Shapiro was hired to shape up the script before eventually being fired for refusing to adhere to studio mandates. The entire thing was a mess.
Oh, friendly bartender!
Travolta was giving it his all, but eventually the studio saw through the star power. They found themselves staring at a $100 million budget for a movie that audiences were always going to be skeptical of based on the connection to Scientology. Eventually, Travolta got creative and went to franchise pictures. The growing company had an innovative approach to making movies not that far removed from what Blumhouse Productions had done over the years. Company head Elie Samaha sought out popular actors with passion projects that bigger studios had refused to finance. He would make their movies on the cheap, sometimes offering a cut of box office returns over upfront fees. The business model was simple. Do you want this movie made? Great, but it's going to be made for half the price.
Never underestimate what a little leverage can do. Rat brain.
The company had produced films like Bruce Willis's The Whole Nine Yards and Kevin Costner's 3,000 Miles to Graceland in the past. Travolta not only lowered his $20 million fee, but became a producer as well, eventually sinking $5 million of his own money into the project.
And there you have it.
Eventually, Franchise Pictures boasted that they had cut the film's budget in half to $50 million, though it would later balloon to $73 million. This was enough to secure production through Morgan Creek Entertainment and distribution through Warner Brothers domestically. Battlefield Earth was officially a go. Travolta then asked his friend Quentin Tarantino to direct. Likely dying from laughter on the inside, Tarantino politely declined. Could you imagine Battlefield Earth directed by Quentin effing Tarantino? Yeah, me neither.
Wait, you good looking. You're hot.
Roger Christian, a man who had once worked as a set decorator for Star Wars A New Hope and was second unit man on Phantom Menace, was given the job instead. They were also able to nab their cinematographer in Giles Nutchins from The Phantom Menace. The studio then hired Corey Mandel to rewrite the script, which was rumored to be on its 10th draft at the time.
I've wasted my time, haven't I?
Though Patrick Tatopoulos was brought over from sets like Bram Stoker's Dracula and Independence Day, no amount of talent was going to be able to cover the disconnect between budget and scope when it came to Battlefield Earth. More on that soon. The project hired up-and-coming actor Barry Pepper to play its young hero after his impressive performance in Saving Private Ryan. Though Travolta originally imagined playing the part himself, the actor had put on some weight over the years and wasn't too keen on showing the world. Playing the 9-foot-tall alien Turl would allow him to hide his figure a little better under a bevy of costumes and makeup. Recognizable character actors like Kim Coates and Richard Tyson nabbed supporting roles, and Forrest Whitaker signed on to play Kerr because he enjoyed working with Travolta on Phenomenon. Throw in Travolta's wife, Kelly Preston, as a secretary with a Gene Simmons-like alien tongue, and this show was ready to leave the station. Shooting began in multiple locations in Canada, alongside some additional filming in Los Angeles in July of 1999. The director employed the use of what's called a Dutch angle throughout the filming to give Battlefield Earth a more comic book-like feel. The simplest explanation of this is basically turning the camera a little sideways to give it a surreal off-balance feel. And boy oh boy were things definitely off balance.
You are just too good of a teacher.
Despite Travolta's promises that this film would be even better than Star Wars, the budget simply didn't match the special effects needs. And with a tight budget comes a tight shooting schedule. Even if the script were well organized, and it was anything but, the time simply wasn't available for anything involving an intricate pre-production. This affected makeup, costumes, and special effects greatly on a project that was already unable to afford anything close to what you would call state-of-the-art digital effects.
Just because you've learned Cyclo doesn't mean you become one.
It became a set full of trial-by-fire moments and attempted ingenuity. Though Travolta claimed he stood on 4-foot-tall stilts at times, eventually Christian also had to simply shoot the Cyclos in an upward angle to make it look like they were bigger than they actually were. Travolta, possibly in full denial mode at this point, was unbothered and even promised the press a sequel the following year, all the while swearing that the film had no ties to Scientology, just a big ol' lovable science fiction film. But the press wasn't buying it.
You are pathetic. You wouldn't last one day at the Academy.
It started when a magazine aptly titled Mean Magazine got a hold of the finished script and retitled it Dark Forces by Desmond Finch, before sending it out anonymously to Hollywood production studios and asking for feedback. Even without the Scientology baggage, each studio passed on the project and left notes calling the script as entertaining as watching a fly breathe. The fire continued to rise when the media, sensing blood in the water, attempted to get on set and were met with a high level of security. When they did manage to get a hold of an actor working on the project, they were informed that an NDA had been signed and the actors by law couldn't share any information. One Washington Post writer caught a sneak peek at some passing props and described them as something out of a 50s B movie. Despite this, Warner Brothers sunk $20 million into the marketing, which included one-sheet phrases like "prepare to go cyclo." Figurine company Trendmasters even made a line of toys around the characters in the movie that included a cyclo battlecraft vehicle. But when it came time to show Battlefield Earth to the world, the wheels and Halloween Express Rob Zombie wigs came flying off.
Is this her?
It's typically bad news if an audience is laughing at unintentionally funny moments in your film. It's always bad when they're walking out early. So what do you call it when audiences are laughing your film off the screen and walking out early during free press screenings? Battlefield Earth, baby.
How exactly do you plan to do that?
As Travolta heavily marketed on the film's press tour, reports of these catastrophic early screenings leaked everywhere. Travolta swore that not only was he happy with the film, but both Tarantino and George Lucas were also big fans.
I repeat, a stage 3 alert. Initiate the gas drone extermination sequence.
This claim was no match for former Scientologist Lawrence Wallersheim, insisting that Battlefield Earth held within its scenes subliminal messaging about Scientology, as if you needed another reason to not head to the movie theater for this film. Your children could become indoctrinated, or have to watch Battlefield Earth. The movie would open on July 12, 2000, 1 week removed from Ridley Scott's epic Gladiator, and 2 weeks before fellow Scientologist Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible 2. Battlefield Earth came in second place in its opening weekend to the tune of just over $11 million. In its second week, it took a secondary punch to the alien nuts with a 67% drop and was averaging just $200 a screen in a matter of weeks. To compare these numbers to our modern-day streaming world, Battlefield Earth would have been offering viewers a $20 Amazon gift certificate just to watch it on Crackle TV by its third weekend. A monumental bust the likes of which we've rarely witnessed before. Battlefield Earth ended its run with just under $30 million earned against its $73 million production budget. Never mind Warner Brothers' $20 million in wasted marketing. The only thing more brutal may have been the critical reception. Battlefield Earth was dubbed one of the worst produced films of the century, the worst movie ever made, or as one critic literally put it, "Ah, my eyes, it burns, it burns." Audiences felt the same, giving it a D+ cinema score, which when it comes to the usually very pillow-fisted cinema score, is pretty much the audience saying that they'd rather cut off their own pinky toe and donate it to Quentin Tarantino than ever be subjected to the film again. The backlash was so bad, Paramount Pictures decided to push Travolta's next film, Lucky Numbers, back several months on the schedule to wait for the storm to pass. Travolta's career survived, but you can't say the same thing for Franchise Pictures, who were sued into bankruptcy by Entertainment AG for allegedly falsely inflating their budgets to the tune of over $120 million in damages. The film set a new world record at the time for Razzie Awards, including Worst On-Screen Couple for Travolta and anyone sharing the screen with him. Original writer J.D. Shapiro distanced himself for the project by joining the mob and claiming what they had done to his script was embarrassing. Despite boasting that the film almost made $100 million when accounting for DVD sales and pay-per-view, Travolta finally admitted that a sequel was not in the cards.
I was being trained to conquer galaxies.
Huh, you think? It looks like the 436 out of 1,050 pages of L. Ron Hubbard's Battlefield Earth are all we're ever going to see on the big screen. Oh darn. Take my life, but not Battlefield Earth too. Oh boy. And that, my friends, is what the happened to the cautionary tale for the ages, otherwise known as Battlefield Earth.
Imbecile! What kind of crap lousy game are you playing?
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.